Good evening. Welcome. Because you've all been such very good boys and girls this evening, I'm going to tell you all a little story. Okay, so it's story time. So, once upon a time, in a faraway land called Kells, there lived a little girl called Eileen. Although she was highly intelligent and supremely sensitive, like many little girls, she was a little naive. She was rapt and awestruck by the fairy tales of her childhood. Cinderella, Snow White and Rapunzel. She dreamed of rags to riches, of growing up to a life of pumpkin carriages and glass slippers. She imagined living in a big castle in the sky with a handsome prince and golden-haired, apple-cheeked offspring. Even then, she had notions above her station. No semi-D in the suburbs for her. When she grew up, she could identify with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, except it wasn't quite the fairy tale version. There were many dwarf boyfriends. The girls would remember Jesus, all magnificent 5 foot of him. Not to mention the Mexican boyfriend in the Cuban heels. That brought him up to her shoulders. She also dated several grumpies and quite a few dopies. Snow White only had to endure one of each. That bitch got off lightly, Eileen thought. When Eileen reached her mid-30s, still a magnificent specimen of womanhood, she wandered into a dark and mysterious forest in search of a prince. She met various characters along the way and asked them if they knew where the prince was hiding. She was sick of hide-and-seek games, which she frequently played in Copperface Jacks and Café on Seine. She met Red Riding Hood, who told her that she hadn't seen the prince, but she'd spotted a cute woodcutter. Eileen was impressed by his big shiny axe, but alas, her anti-violence principles would not let her date him. She wandered deeper into the forest. She felt alone and scared. What would she do without a prince and a castle full of apple-cheeked children? She lay down under a great oak tree and she cried for 3 days and 3 nights. On the 3rd day, she saw some people hiking in the forest. They called themselves the Wayfarers. She didn't remember hearing about them in the fairy tales. They were a curious-looking bunch, but they looked like fun. They brought her on adventures in the forest. She discovered mountains and rivers and faraway lands, and she began to feel happy again. The more she explored, the more she discovered other boys and girls who had come to the forest by themselves and made their homes there. They taught her that you don't have to live in a castle with a prince and a little apple-cheeked offspring to be happy ever after. You could build a tree house or a boathouse for yourself, or you could live in the wide open under the stars. They told her that they would help her to build a house for herself. Eileen was very excited about building her new home in the forest, but she really missed her old friends and her family. She had been lost in the forest for a long time. She climbed to the top of the great oak tree and called out their names. Everybody came straight away. They built the most magical house together. Instead of gingerbread, it was made from Mavis's chocolate cake. The walls were decorated with pictures of all her friends and her family and their apple-cheeked children, who she loved very much. Some of the pictures of Eileen were put up high on the walls so the children couldn't see them. This was because she used to be a very naughty girl, and the parents didn't think it was a good idea for the children to see pictures of Eileen pole dancing. When the house was built, Eileen decided to have a great party to celebrate her amazing adventures in the forest. Her sister Sina and Sina's boyfriend John cooked a big feast for all the guests. Everybody gasped when they saw her. Everybody gasped when they saw her in the princess dress. They said she looked like a real-life princess, except even better. But she was way too modest and humble to think that herself. Eileen looked at all the people who had come to her house for the party. She realised that her house wasn't empty and she wasn't alone after all. She belonged to everyone in the room, and everyone in the room belonged to her. They were all her family. They all partied their socks off all night long, and Eileen was the happiest girl in the whole wide world. The end.
Tell me what you want me to do, yeah.
First, just a little bit longer, just a few more minutes. So I want, first of all, to say an enormous thank you to everyone who came to celebrate with me tonight. Though most of you will get what the story is about, I should really apologise to those who maybe I haven't seen for a while, who might be out of the loop. Anyway, the moral of the story is that tonight is much more than a 40th birthday party. It's a celebration of the single life, and a celebration of all of you who have been the most wonderful companions on a most amazing journey. So many people have put so much work to make tonight special. The decorations, the food, all the sneaking around behind my back. What can I say except, will you do it all again in 2 weeks' time for my 41st? Heartfelt thanks to all my girls. Before I finish, I'd like to say a few words about one friend who's here tonight and who's very dear to me and to many of us gathered here this evening. Anne Gordon deserves a special mention for many reasons, but I'm going to rein myself in and give you just one or two of them.
Where is Anne?
Anne turned 40 a short while before me. She didn't have a chance to have a proper party at the time because she was in the final year of her psychology degree. Most of us are content to scrape through with 1 degree. Some of us make it to 2, but for Anne, this was number 3. While holding down a full-time job, she scored a 2-1, which was a phenomenal achievement on a very demanding course. But that's just a small example of the many achievements she has accrued in the time I've known her. I think it would be fair to say that Anne has had her fair share of challenges. She has faced the kind of challenges that most people do not survive. And I mean that literally. I first met Anne over a dozen years ago, shortly before she suffered a serious accident in Australia. I remember Anne's sister, telling us about a conversation she had with one of the surgeons who was treating Anne out there. When Edel asked him about the surgery she needed to repair the bones in her face, he explained that the surgery is rarely performed, as few people with that type of injury survive beyond the accident. Anne survived, and she was our hero. She was our hero not because she had survived the accident, but because of her courage, hard work, her damn stubborn streak, her wry sense of humour, and the complete absence of self-pity, which she exemplified in the long road to her recovery. When I reached a dark patch in the forest, Anne was there for me. She was like a big sister, taking me by the hand and teaching me how to survive and thrive in the world as a single woman. As a friend, she is selfless, generous, and loyal beyond belief. She's all those things, but I gotta tell you, she's no angel. Mothers, lock up your sons. And the girl knows how to party. Her headbanging moves are legendary. AC/DC, eat your heart out. Tonight is also a celebration of our incredible friend, who has also joined the 4+0 club. And in case you think this is all my idea, Anne, you'd be wrong. All year, your friends have been saying that they want to do something to celebrate you. And this is the start, and you're not getting away without having another party. And the planning is going to begin tonight. And so, on behalf of all your friends, I'd like to present you with a birthday gift. So I'd like you all to raise your glasses in a toast to Anne. Long life, health and happiness. To you, Anne. Okay, so let's get ready to rumble. Thank you.